Yeah,
you know.
yeah.
Just
Okay, we're live. We're Hello everyone. We're just getting organised. um, we'll introduce ourselves properly in a minute. I'm just getting my screens up and running so that I can see the YouTube screen as well. And Helen's just sent a message saying she's just back from, because she's been travelling back from France today. She's been down to the Carcassonne area, the Mary Magdalene area. And she says, I'm just getting back from France and may not be online, everyone, but we'll be with you. That was 35 minutes ago. Oh, we didn't know if Helen would be able to make it. Just getting back from France and may not be online. Oh, that's everyone, me but talking. We'll be with you. That was 35 minutes ago. Oh, God, now what am I going to do about that? We didn't know if Helen would be able to make it. Just getting back from France and may not be online. Oh, right, I'm going to take that off. That was me looking at the recording, which has already started, because I thought I might be able to chat down the side, but I can't if my volume's on, can I? Because normally when I do these on my own, I don't have the volume on. So, but if you do that, you end up having yourself on a delayed thing. So that's no good. So I won't do that. So apologies everyone that we can't chat in the box. Are you still there, Mandy?
I'm still here. Hello, everybody. Yeah. Hello from Avalon, Glastonbury.
So it's
we've
lovely.
Got the sunset for about 5 more minutes, I think.
Oh, look at that. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, yeah.
So where are you exactly? Are you?
I'm actually on the farm, and I was going to set up. They've got a little stone circle here. Oh. And I just thought about 10 minutes ago, it'd be nice to be outside for a change. So I was going to set up there, but you can't see the sunset. And I just thought, with this being a healing transmission, what more could we want than the sun and the energy from the sun? So it's for everybody. That sun is everybody's sun, and it's hopefully going to blast everybody for at least 5 more minutes.
Wow, thank you. Oh, it's so lovely that, Amanda, you could join us tonight, because it's all, as you can imagine, everyone, it's all been a bit hit and miss, what with the energies going on and all of us being busy, you know, like whether we were going to do this. And the idea came from Helen a few weeks ago, and we didn't really know what it was going to be. We wondered if we were meeting physically, and then I came up with this idea, because I then realised that the 6/6 was today and Wednesday. So I thought, well, we'll still just have an experiment today and explore some energy together, and talk about the Wednesday night healings, but also talk about the 6/6 and what it means, because we don't really know, like no one really knows what it means. And I'd quite like to just kind of explore the ideas that around it while we're doing the transmission, because when we do the transmission, we raise the frequencies, and so when the frequencies are raised, we get our higher self information through. And I just thought, wow, couldn't we could have a conversation about it while we're in the frequency, which would be really interesting. I'm just mucking about with my screen here because I didn't actually want to watch myself like that, but I'm going to have to. So Amanda and I first met on a 6/6, and it was the 6/6 2015. And Helen, I'd already met Helen, but neither of us had met Amanda, and we were in Glastonbury that weekend, and that was before you lived down there, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. I'd never been to Glastonbury, and I'd never been up the tour, and it was actually on top of the tour that I met you and Helen.
Yeah,
which is amazing that it's 3 years today.
So we were meeting at 6 p.m. on the 6/6 to have a circle, and there was a few other people who were coming to meet us, and so that was 3 years ago today. Well, it's lovely to know you, Amanda.
No, it's beautiful, and the energy's here. So I'm actually about 1.8 miles from the tour. If I turn the camera around, you'd be able to see the tour. So it's hard to choose sunset tour, sunset. So, but I thought that the energies from the sun, you know, if we look at the sun, if we sun gaze, if we close our eyes with the sun and just receive the energy from it, it's so healing. And so we're outside in one of the fields that's just been cut. So I'm literally sitting on hay, and the blackbirds are tweeting. It's just a beautiful evening. So it's nice to be able to give that out from Avalon. And hopefully, because the energies are really strong as I'm sat here on the floor. My head is vibrating like crazy. It's going down my spine and my root chakra's going mad. So,
are you sitting on the ground?
Yeah, I'm on the floor. I'm on the field, literally on the earth. So yeah.
On Gaia.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's magical. It's nice to be outside.
It seems that we're being called to live more and more outside now. I don't know if everyone else is feeling that and noticing that, but certainly I've noticed that I'm just drawn to be outside as much as I can. Being inside feels unnatural now.
Especially at the moment, Sally, because the energies are affecting everybody differently based on their path. So the kindest thing anybody can do for themselves is to get outside. And we were talking earlier, weren't we, Sally? You don't have to go barefoot. Just get out into nature, around the plants. Even if you aren't in the countryside, just go to a park, sit under a tree if it's on the sidewalk. It doesn't matter, but just connect to anything that's living, basically, of Gaia. Just one tree, one plant. If you can't get out, sit next to a house plant, but just connect to the living creation. And it's just so healing and balancing and grounding, because we do need to be quite grounded at the moment, because there's so many different energies out there at the moment.
The high frequency
it's essential one. Yeah we're at sort of very poignant times, and the kindest and highest thing we can be is balanced to ourselves within at this time, and that will take us one day into the next day, and see us through with love, come from the heart.
Yeah, and what I've noticed when I'm out in the woods, that I just feel calm. It makes me breathe in more slowly. I notice that I'm taking deeper breaths, and I'm sort of getting into a more relaxed state, and that really fits with what you were saying, because when we do the healing, like the field that we're going to do tonight, that's the same thing that I do then when I go into that. It's like an altered state, isn't it? An altered consciousness, where you actually alter your brainwave state. You go into alpha and then into theta, and you might not know you're doing that, and we don't think consciously, oh, I've got to go into alpha now I've got to go into theta. We don't do it that, but that's how it kind of works out, because we take some deep breaths and we go, and so when we're outside in the woods, and earlier today I was down at the river. We've got a really nice river here, and I was going down to meet my daughter, because she walks from the other end of it from her bus stop, and then I sometimes go and meet her, and it was a lovely day. And there was chicks swimming with one of the geese had a gosling swimming behind it, and there was some duck chicks and different, ducklings, and it was just lovely. And I just I'm in slowly, and then I think you go into that altered brainwave, which is the same. This is one of the things I wanted to mention tonight. I've been sort of noticing that it feels the same when you do that, as that's going up in frequency, which so it's the same thing as accessing the higher frequencies by altering your by going into a deeply relaxed state, to me. And I remembered, Amanda, that you mentioned this on a video you did about a week or two ago. Well, it fits with something you mentioned about, you said something about how the veil that we're kind of going through, and everyone talks about that, don't they, with the shift that we're going through the veil. And you actually mentioned that it was like a veil in our brain that we were going through.
Yeah, that's right. Because it is to do, it's exactly to do with the brain waves. And so we access our higher consciousness by changing the brain wave. So we operate in one particular base, and then we can change it. We're in a different mode when we sleep. But then when we can do it through breathing and just closing our eyes, we don't even have to close our eyes. We can just concentrate on breathing. And I breathe into my heart. Everybody breathes differently when they're practicing this. But I breathe love, my love, into my heart. And then I just wait 4 seconds there with just doing nothing, just waiting in peace. And then I breathe out love. I push that love out onto Gaia or onto the space. And so you push it through your body, and that naturally relaxes you down.
Mm.
And if you are stressed or having a difficult day, just that breath is a very natural breath. It's not forced, it's not pushed, as in you don't count to 3. You don't use your linear brain to do this breath. You just relax and be as natural as you can. And the actual continued practice of breathing in your love to your heart, which is your connection to source, and then breathing out that love, you're giving your will to receive. So the very act of breathing out love onto everything brings more love to you. And if you sustain the practice, just that one thing of breathing, and you keep doing it every day, perhaps twice a day, you can sit next to a tree and breathe that love into the bark of a tree, and you might just have a pleasant experience to start with. But then the next time, or the time after that, or the time after that, you'll go into the tree. Your consciousness will go into the tree. And then weeks after that, your consciousness will be taken around the tree from the inside, from the roots all the way into the different parts. And you end up with this communication system based on what you merge with. But it's always from the heart. You're always merging your love. You're giving your love out. And merging, you're giving love to something. And that's how we receive. And it's also how we heal. It's love that heals everything, whether that's a physical illness, whether it's an argument, whether it's pain, whether it's loneliness. It's always love that is the healer of all things. And it's the connection to all things. It's beautiful.
Well, that's really good about the tree. I love that thing about talking to the tree, communicating with it. So that
yeah, you can do it with anything. You can do it with clouds. It just takes practice. It's like driving a car, in that at first it feels a little bit odd and a bit wonky, perhaps, and not quite comfortable. And the more you do it, the more relaxed. You don't have to think about what you're doing. You're just breathing in love and breathing out love. And you can merge with clouds. You can disperse clouds. You can clouds of consciousness. They carry information around the whole of Gaia, and you can access information within the clouds. You can access information just into a blade of grass. You can connect your consciousness via your heart and your breathing, giving out love to one blade of grass, and you can go within that blade of grass. And you
Wow.
don't know what you'll get back. You don't know what the information. It'll always be a surprise. Won't be what you expect.
That's interesting that you've played across, because one HHD session I did with a client, she went, that was where she went. The first sort of place she went to when we sort of went in was into a blade of grass. I mean, at first people don't really know where they are because they see out from the thing that they're in, and often it's a human body in a past life, but it's not by any means always. And this lady went into a blade of grass, and
Yeah.
that was so interesting.
The only reason I knew to do it or to start to practice it is because really early in my awakening, I had a series of visions, and one of them, so these were like they played out in front of me, and one of them, my eyes, literally, I saw this crocus flower. It was a yellow crocus flower, and I saw it in front of me, and then I don't know how, but my eyes zoomed in, bearing in mind it was a vision so they could it zoomed in to the stamen, and then it zoomed in even further and then further, and I ended up looking at a cell within the center of the crocus flower, and that's how I realized that we can merge into things. So I mean it took a while before that happened, but because I didn't figure it out, but
Yeah,
it just it it kind of proves the point of tonight and healing is that it's it's through our love, our will, our desire to help another, coming from the heart, coming from our purity,
yeah,
that
yeah,
can send that vibration of energy out without distance. Distance is a linear thing. It it can literally be received as soon as we send it. If it comes from the heart, it has to come from the actual heart itself, and that energy just ripples out like a pond, like a pebble in a pond. It just instantly ripples out if it's sent from the purity of the heart. And people sometimes think, well, I'm not a healer.
yeah,
Everybody is a healer.
yeah.
It just requires people's belief in themselves that they can help another person,
But
whether that is, yeah,
also to get out of your own way, to,
yeah,
know, to just not even consider the fact that you aren't able to do a thing, and just to get on with it, because every human can do that. But we do get
yeah.
in our own way, and we overthink things, and we think, oh, I wouldn't be able to do that.
I think if we think we can't, then we can't, and if we think we can, if we believe we can, we absolutely can, and then we prove it to ourselves, and then we know we can. So we get the experience of having done it, which you've had, I've had, many healers have had.
Yeah, yeah,
So every single person on the planet is able to heal. And when we rise in the whole mass collective consciousness, that's how we are healthy, because we're able to heal ourselves. It's a normal thing to do at a higher consciousness
yeah.
level.
And when we're in the higher frequencies, like as a general rule, rather than just for half an hour now and again, you don't need to you don't even have anything wrong, because the cells are going to be vibrating at such a high frequency that they're not going to get any problems and stuckness. And the emotions, as we go higher, the emotions aren't, they do seem intense, like while we're going through the clearings, but once you're through them, things don't bother you as much, so you're not hanging on as much to your kind of old stuff. And that's what's happening at the moment, isn't it? That's what it feels to me, that we're kind of dropping everything to go higher, really.
We're what? Sorry, we're what? Everything, Sally? Dropping.
Dropping the old kind of grass that it seems to be.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think we are really at an acute stage collectively. Is for those ascending, that are on the awakened path, it's literally whatever hasn't been cleared up to this point. People are going to get or are getting whacked with it. And
Yeah.
it could just be one thing. It literally could just be one thing, but they'll be smacked with it so blatantly because it's now. Everything has to be cleared now. And so that's why people are getting it. And that's why the energies out there are quite, if you look at
Wrong.
lots and lots of people, if you look at a lot of people awakening, the energies are like this because everybody's clearing something else. So it's up, down, up, down. So when you look at the whole of people awakening, it's quite erratic at the moment, but it's only for the greater good. It's only because now is the time to clear the last remnants. We are at final stage.
Wow, that's so exciting.
And the last one is clearing our judgment.
Oh,
which
that's a big
I was
one.
shown yesterday. I told you, didn't I? I was shown yesterday by Gaia. She explained the judgment system of humanity.
Oh my God.
So that's the final act. And she actually said it's the final act.
And then that's it.
Mm.
That's a hard one for us to do, I think, judgment.
I think so. I think they saved the best till last.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a hard one, definitely.
There's just 6 minutes until 9:30. So if I can just explain a little bit, this is one of the reasons I wanted to do this, was to explain, because I noticed last week there were people commenting on Facebook asking about the Wednesday evening transmission. And obviously not everyone's been in it as long as we've been doing it, because we've been doing it for 5 years. We had our 5th anniversary 2 weeks ago. I started it on the 15th of May 2013. And so 5 years of doing it, there's a lot of people in there, and that's you watching probably, who know exactly what we're doing. But actually there's still people on Facebook saying, but how do we know it works? And what is it exactly? And what do I have to do? And, so I just thought I'd like to explain a little bit. So when I started it 5 years ago, it was an experiment just for that one evening. It wasn't ever going to be every Wednesday for 5 years. I never would have thought of doing something like that. The idea came to do this experiment where I was thinking, well, what if I did distance healing for a group of people at once rather than one person? And that's what I thought then, that it was me doing distance healing, because that was where I was at in my sort of consciousness. And so people said, yeah, they'd give it a go. And we did this group, and it was 100 people in the end, sort of through Facebook. And then in the morning, I was really surprised because lots of people were messaging saying, wow, something's healed. This has healed, like a lady with a sty. She said it had completely gone. Someone else like woke up smiling and they'd been depressed for months, and there were all these things. And so I thought, oh, so it does work. Oh, that's interesting. And then a few days before the following Wednesday, I kind of got, oh, well, maybe I should do it again, and that was how it went, really. But it's quite a long story, really. But gradually over the time, I've realized that it's not me doing it. It's not me, my human self, doing it. There's a massive team of beings, and they were just waiting for us to have the idea to do it. So really it's them, but that is us, because that's our higher selves. And I said to Mandy earlier that even when I forget that it's 9:30 on Wednesday, which isn't very often, but sometimes I do, or I'm busy, I'm driving or something, I've got to do something and I'm not back yet, it just starts. And I know that some of you have noticed that, because I've heard people say that it just starts anyway. So it isn't just little me doing it, or Helen, who joined me after a few months and said, I'm doing it with you. It's not us activating it. But what you can do to take part, because it's so big and so tangible, is, if you haven't already, you can lie down now, because we're going to start in a minute. It's probably already going by now. And this is what you can do every week. Just lie down and allow. And you don't actually need to do anything. You don't need to kind of think of yourself sending anything or anything like that. All it is allowing the field, the higher frequency field, to interact with your body. That's how I think of it. And what happens is it interacts with the cells, and the cells flow the energy, and the cells then talk to each other more easily, which then helps with any physical imbalance that you might have. And it's deeply relaxing. But it's not actually me doing it at all. It's just this. I think we've done it before when we were in the higher realms. We've done it before, and we just know that that's what we do. That's probably my explanation. But tonight, because that 5 years ago started as an experiment, what I wanted to do tonight is a kind of different experiment, but in the same spirit of like exploration for fun, rather than we've got to try hard to do something. Because if you try hard to do something, invariably, obviously, the energy will be much lower vibration. So tonight, what I want us to do is to do an experiment. So Mandy was up for it, which was great. I'll talk you in. Probably you're all lying down by now. And by the way, if you're going to listen to this after the live recording, after the live now on a recording, that's great. Just do it as if it's live, because the energy will find you again. And so lie down and take a couple of slow, deep breaths. And it's just turning to 9:39. I think your sunset has just set there, Mandy.
Yeah, perfect.
So I don't know if you don't have to stay outside, but you can if you want to. And then I'll just talk everyone into it. And then what Mandy and I will do is we'll go quiet and it'll be silent. But if then anything wants to come through either of us that for the transmission, this is our experiment, there might be one of us saying something or something. We don't actually know. So we're going to put that out there as in an open way that we're up for whatever might happen. And we hope you are as well. And then at 10 o'clock, I'll say, thank you very much. And we'll end quite quickly. We won't have another discussion because you'll just want to stay in that space afterwards. We'll just say good night and end the transmission. Okay, so take a couple of slow, deep, easy breaths in and out. In and out. In and out. And just let yourself sort of melt down into your bed or whatever you're lying on. And I'd like you to imagine a beautiful pyramid, shining bright, glowing, shining, sparkling bright. A beautiful pyramid composed of white crystalline light. And I'd like you to place this white pyramid of light around you, completely around you, so that you are completely enclosed within your beautiful pyramid of white light. And this white light is a very powerful force. And it opens up a multi-dimensional gateway to your higher aspects of you. This is a deeply healing space. It's a healing pyramid. But when I say healing, I don't just mean healing your physical body. Because in this quantum space-time, you are not your body. You are beyond your physical aspect. And so, although it will bring your physical cells into alignment, into harmony, into flow, you're far greater, because the higher dimensional aspects of you can communicate with you here. And I'd just like us to feel each other, to feel our community in this group, not only our physical community of everyone who's listening all around the world, but our larger community of all the higher versions of us, including our galactic star families, and every higher frequency of consciousness which is part of us, which we are now able to communicate with. You might notice your body tingling in different places. You might feel your cells vibrating. You might notice that they're shining brightly, full of light, dancing cells, dancing happily in this space where nothing is required. And what's within us is also without us. So you might feel the dancing planets and stars of the cosmos at the same time as your cells are tingling and lighting up. The cosmic cells are dancing with us. So as we connect out into the cosmos, we're also connecting through Gaia and all her animals, all the beings that live on her. Everything dancing in unison. And there's a bird singing outside my window to remind us that we're all connected.
Oi chikia matea o tamasea tekia. Masi matoi e samete ke chia matea. Masiwe. Masewe. Takama tiki tiki tito ai chamatikia. Chewe. Mashtikia. Mashtikia masea. E kamate. Kamate. Matea kitkaria mateki. Metawe. Oishtiki miti. Mese. Ma chikitiki o chamatete. E mate. Matea. Mase.
And this is how you are walking into the new earth together. This is where you meet us. We are already here. We are delighted that you come here to meet us. The more you do this, the more you move beyond your own self-imposed limitations. They are not real. You think you have to travel to come here. But you are here. It's easy. The more of you who come, you will walk to the new earth. You are already here. We wish to thank every single one of you for your presence here. In this frequency, you are all assisting. We are deeply grateful. Thank you, Amanda, and thank you everyone for watching and listening. And I'll let you have a lovely night's sleep in these peaceful frequencies.